We're gonna call to order this meeting. Ms. Tommy, would you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Member Hamilton,
Here.
Member Martin, Secretary Cordova,
Here.
President Osborne.
Here, we have a quorum, so we will continue. Would you all stand, please, and join me for the pledge and salute? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
You may be seated. Thank you. Okay, the next item is to consider approval of the minutes from 9/24.
I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next is to consider approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is the consent agenda. Do you guys have any questions or?
Questions?
I have none, Madam President.
All right, then. It's a consideration item, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda for tonight.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ms. Russ, Superintendent report.
Thank you, Madam President. My first item tonight, we'll invite Ms. Williams up for our canon update.
Good evening, Board Superintendent. I don't have a lot. I just want to say thank you for all the great opportunities of getting our military members in the school. We are getting at least 1 or 2 requests every day. And the guys are really excited. You guys are getting all these volunteers and we just appreciate having the opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, I believe we have a student representative from Clovis High School.
Good evening, Board Superintendent. My name is Jayla Harris Hinch, and I am the Clovis High School Student Body Public Relations Officer. October is a very busy month for our student council at the high school. Between fall sports beginning to wrap up and Halloween, we have our hands full of events. Senior night, we have our football senior night as well as band, cheer, and dance senior night all on Friday. So if y'all want to come out and support, that'd be great. Obviously, we have Spirit Week, an upcoming Spirit Week for Halloween, as well as our Halloween free out. Both events are helping to boost student morale after the first 9 weeks. As we know, a lot of students are getting tired, and it's just a great way to get those students up and going. This is very much like free time to hang out with friends and enjoy some much needed time to let loose within certain parameters. Then we have our CHS Trunk or Treat, which will be happening Halloween evening from 4 to 6 p.m. at Clovis High School. So it is a great way for us to get groups to connect with the community and bring everyone together. Feel free to bring your family and come get some candy. It's open to everyone. So that's a great opportunity. And finally, tomorrow night, student council bright and early will be traveling to Artesia for our district competition, where we receive valuable feedback. And this will allow for us to grow and achieve more in terms of the school and for all of our students. That is all I have. So thank you so much.
Wow, you are
Thank
busy.
you.
Thank you for
Busy
your
lady.
report. We appreciate it.
And my last item tonight, Madam President, is the consideration of a topic that you all began discussing at our last meeting. So,
Okay, and we have one speaker card for this. Crystal Gutierrez, are you here? And you know you have to read minutes. Yeah, okay.
But I do know we have 3 minutes, so
Okay.
pardon the
All right.
non-formality,
Okay.
and my vision is just
Okay.
gonna be
All
directed
right,
towards.
thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I would like to propose an alternative way to honor a coach. One that would benefit our student athletes in a lasting and meaningful way. This is not about diminishing his incredible contribution. I am deeply grateful for the years of services that he dedicated to our students. But we must always ask ourselves, students first. I know I'm surrounded by leaders who always put students first, especially their safety. Instead of naming the field, imagine honoring coach by investing the donated funds to top of the line helmets for all of our student football players, 7th grade to varsity. I know my student is like running to get there first so he can get the better helmet, because unfortunately we don't have the most top of the line helmets for every player. I'm sure they meet standards, but the best ones out there. With this season alone, we've had 19 suspected concussions, and I think that's significant. So I would like to protect our babies and their beautiful brains. So this would be a powerful and lasting way to safeguard our players and honor his dedication to them. We could even take this a step further and honor Nurse Roundhouse. I have a little favoritism towards nurses for some reason, I'm not sure. But she has spent years of dedicated services to students' safety and health alongside Coach. So this would help create a legacy rooted in the well-being of our students. What will endure? Because I know that sometimes we put names on buildings and after generations, sometimes they lose that meaning and that weight. But what would endure is our Clovis, the Wildcats. Is what will endure. So we have to honor that in a lasting way. And these students that gather on the field and carry on this tradition year after year with the pride and spirit of our community, that is who we're here for. And the naming of a field by an individual, no matter how respected, and he is deeply respected, it will fade over time, just like on our tombstones. I mean, our names will always fade. And that's just the sad reality, but our Wildcat legacy will live on through our kids. Coach's true legacy isn't just tied to the name on the field. It is about who he inspired. And with our board having played for him, I think that he's probably instilled some very good characteristics in you as well. And I deeply respect that. So let's honor him in a way that truly reflects his life work by investing in our students, their safety, and their future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we move to this item, the last meeting I had given my colleagues here an assignment to go out into the world, homework to go out into the world and find out what was possible. And
Yes, ma'am.
so, Mr. Hamilton, are you going to be the one to report that?
Yes, ma'am. So after some research, our findings are in order to put the name on the field, there's a few different ways you can do it, but the right way to do it would be they cut out a piece of the field and then they sew in whatever graphic that we would decide and put that on the field. To do that, and Mr. Brady, you correct me if I'm wrong, to do that now and not wait until we replace the whole field would cost roughly $40,000. Is that correct? Estimated 40. If we wait and we do it whenever we replace the field, which is probably going to be in the next few years, 2 to 3 years, it would probably be about 10,000 less than that because they can do it all at one time. They don't have to cut out and stitch it in. Now, we do have it's already sponsored to put it on the scoreboard above the scoreboard, that is completely sponsored. That's not going to be a cost to the district. That's going to be something that we can take care of by sponsors. And that's something that won't require maintenance over time, or if it does, it'll be minimal maintenance. That's sponsored. We do have the permission of the Bank of Clovis because they're the ones that sponsor the scoreboard. And so we're all green lighted on that. We just have to decide what we want to do in our field.
And I expressed my concern about investing that in kind of in the field at this point in time, especially given that we had to close schools. And then I also had Mr. Brady check to see if there were other high schools in New Mexico that had it on the field, which there were none. If that's
Actually, we found
correct.
at the 11th hour Santa Rosa 2 years ago in
Santa-
Waterfield.
Who would have known?
Right, and I did talk to Sally Marquez, the head of AMA, and she was not aware of any fields. That's where I got that information. Santa Rosa and then Matt Chase and Artesia, but they don't use the name as the field, but his name is there because he donated all of the money to make that facility.
So kind of in the same way, if we put
They
it
call
on the
that the
scoreboard.
Bulldog Bowl, but Matt Chase's name is there.
Okay. Mr. Cordova?
Well, I know it's very touchy because of the situation of closing the schools and what we were faced with that. However, that wasn't our decision. It was the state's decision that they pushed on us, that we had to make a decision, and that was the best for all the kids in the district. I played for Coach, and you know, he was my coach, and he wasn't easy to play for. You know, I'll be honest with you, and you know, if and those that did play know. But his record, you know, he's in the National Hall of Fame for a reason. You know, he inspired a lot of people to go out and be better. He was a father for guys that didn't have a father. You know, and I know money is important, but I sit and I wonder from the time he started in '78, because my brother played for him, and they won the first title to, I mean, he had what, 43 years? Okay.
44.
Okay, so let's just take the 80s and 90s, for instance. Every Friday night, everybody and mom was out there, and the dog was out there at Leon Williams Stadium watching the Cats. How much money did he bring in to our schools? You know, and
that,
I mean, I know, I understand, but you know, but it, you know, and that's just what I'm thinking about that, you know. Again, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm saying, I don't think anybody here disputes the fact that we're gonna do something to honor him.
Right.
What it is I'm hoping is it a balanced approach so that we honor him and at the same time we're honoring the children we're responsible for now. And so that's where I find myself in, so.
And I think as far as like the helmets and our safety for our kids, aren't they on a rotation?
Every year, those helmets have to be sent in, they have to be, refurbished, and they have to be certified that they're good to use. And so I wanna make sure that I piggyback, there's a range of, here's the top of the line helmet, and here's the helmet, the minimum you have to have. And we have varying degrees of helmets that are in there. She used the term or the phrase that her son hustles to get the best helmet. 19 concussions, it's interesting to see that data, I don't question that, she's very good at examining that stuff. But that's an issue that needs to be examined as a district, and that's something that I'll take up with the athletic director.
The concussions, you know, my daughter was in band, she got a concussion from the flagpole hitting her head. Soccer players get concussions. I mean, it's not just football, and I understand, you know, they're all part of athletics. But, you know, putting all that aside, let's just look at again, Coach and his, I'm gonna refer to him as Coach, in his history. You know, no other man is gonna be able to do what he's done. And we
We don't
have.
know that. Let's hope.
Well, I mean, that's just how I feel, like, be
I know.
partial
Right.
to that, but nevertheless, we do have an agreement with the Bank of Clovis. They gave us permission, we do,
And they're paying for additional, are they paying for that?
No, ma'am,
Additional sign?
Clovis Sign is gonna,
Oh,
is gonna do the,
donate and.
Oh,
and
thank you guys for getting,
And
Yes,
install.
ma'am.
it, yeah,
Hustling that
and-
stuff,
And install
right.
it.
yes.
So, I mean, that being said, it's not gonna cost anything. at this
no,
point, you know.
right,
So, I mean, and it's for me, it's kind of like a no-brainer. I mean, it's there. I hate that it's, you know, his accomplishments, accomplishments are there. You know, and I think, you know, it should be something that we do. I know we have great teachers in our school systems. We do all over the district. You know, my wife has been working for 28 years for the district as a coach.
Right.
You know, but again, we honored folks like Norval Howell, who I love to death. I was in band, and you know, and CG Ross here. Why can't we do this for Coach Ron House and for what he's done for, you know, he pretty much put Clovis on the map, you know, and that's just my feelings.
so I guess the question is, are we satisfied with calling the field, Roundhouse Field, leaving at Leon Williams Stadium? We
Yes.
want to be abundantly clear about that.
Yeah.
It
I-
will be
go ahead.
Roundhouse Field at Leon Williams Stadium, is that what you're proposing?
Yes, ma'am. I called Coach and spoke to him myself, and he was adamant about not changing Leon Williams Stadium. He wanted to make sure it stayed Leon Williams because he knew Leon Williams and he didn't want that to be the case. And so I assured him that we would leave it Leon Williams Stadium and name the field after him if it passed.
And
And
I agree.
go ahead.
I
So
agree.
is that
What,
what we are in agreement about?
I think so. What I would like to add to all that is I think we could name the field tonight, Eric Roanhouse Field. We can put it on the scoreboard. That's all paid for. And then in 2 or 3 years, whenever the field has to be replaced, we can leave it up to the board at that time to decide if they want to put it on the field. If they do, great. If they don't, great. I mean, that'll be up to them at that time. But for now, us, as far as spending money, we wouldn't have any out-of-pocket expense, so to speak, right now, and we could put it on the scoreboard.
Well, I thank you for bringing a very good solution to us.
Yeah,
So
that's.
can I,
reasonable.
if you don't have any other comments or questions, one of you make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
to name our football field Eric Roanhouse Field.
And I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, the next item is employee services, and we have several speaker cards, right?
Madam President, we have 3 speaker cards specific to the employee services board policies.
Okay, so generally what we do when there are multiple speakers on the same topic is we allow the first speaker, whoever that might be, 3 minutes, and each additional speaker gets 1 minute to address the same topic. So I don't know who they are, but if you have one of you that is a better speaker or a preferred person, if you will.
I kept them in order.
Oh,
If you'd like
awesome.
me.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Perfect. Mr. Otero, if you would like to go ahead and approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, and superintendent. I'm here to speak about the policies in general. As an elder of Legacy Church and a family practice medical provider in this community for over 30 years, I feel a profound responsibility to speak it out against any and all proposed policy changes on gender identity being considered by the Clovis School Board. These policies, which may be tied to Title IX compliance and state funding, could lead to significant harm for our students, our families, and the wider community. On June 6, 2024, the American College of Pediatrics issued a statement condemning gender affirming treatments for minors, warning that irreversible risk posed by interventions like hormone therapies, puberty blocking, and surgeries. These treatments lack robust scientific backing and can lead to long-term physical and psychological damage. It's particularly concerning that most, if not all, minors undergoing such treatments may not fully understand their life-altering consequences. As the pediatric college stated, it's also note that many children with gender dysphoria naturally, as many of you may have, resolve their findings as they progress through puberty without need for invasive medical interventions. As a medical professional, I have always advocated comprehensive, evidence-based care that protects the well-being of our youth, encouraging policies that support medical treatments for minors without thorough psychological evaluations or involvement from parents could result in long-term regret and emotional harm for many students. While the state funding is essential to operations of our schools, it could not come at the cost of compromising students' health and safety. The board should prioritize evidence-based practices that are in the best interest of students, encouraging their mental, physical health are protected. As a community grounded biblical values, we are reminded Psalms 127:3 that children are a heritage from the Lord, and Proverbs 22:6 instructs us to train up a child in the way they should go. Our collective duty to protect our children, fostering emotional and natural health and development without subjecting them to
Mr.
harm
Otero, thank
or
you for your
premature
comments.
interventions. is
Thank you for your
vital.
comments, yes. Okay. Who's next?
Next, I have Mr. Farrell DeFore. If you will go ahead and approach the podium.
I'm Pastor Farrell Ford. I would like to see the board put Title IX down because I believe it's going to be a tremendous detriment to our society and to our city. You cannot put two genders in the same restroom, bathroom, showers, stripped down naked. You cannot put them in without some kind of a problem. There will be ridicule, there will be teasing, bullying, tormenting, terrorizing the people, possibly rape, and possibly some people be accused of rape. It will not work. We don't want to go the way of Albuquerque, Santa Fe. If we did, we'd move there. We came here to be civil, to be people that respect genders, but we're not going to have them put together in the same restrooms. And I would ask that you strike down completely Title IX.
Thank you, Pastor DeFore.
And then next I have Mr. Nathan McCreary, if you'll approach the podium, please.
Thank you for hearing. I am Nathan McCreary. I'm a longtime resident of Clovis, New Mexico, and I live on Pineway Boulevard. Many of you may not recognize me without my red ball cap on, so I'm out of uniform tonight. I know all of you from being in the community. I've served with many of you, different endeavors in the community, and served with many of you on different committees within the city. I believe you to be honest people with a strong Christian values. My question would be, what do the people of your district whose interests you campaign to represent think about this? And by that, I mean Title IX and the agenda affirming things that are being pushed upon us. As Christians, we have or should have a certain set of non-negotiable values. Will you as board members stay true to those values or fold to the zeitgeist of the moment? President Lincoln said, when asked if God was on his side, he said, the question is not whether or not God is on my side. The question is, am I on God's side? So I'll leave that with you.
Thank you. Mr. Strickland?
President Osborne, members of the board, Superintendent Russ. I have three policies that we presented at last board meeting. Just as a reminder, they are non-discrimination policies and then revisions to our Title IX process for any kind of sexual harassment. And so I stand for questions from you on board policy A250, A0300, and G0200.
Okay, so I've read every word of these policies and I don't, see anything that encourages or what I see is that we're honoring our obligation to protect our students from harassment and bullying. And so did I miss something? I've read over it, so.
No, ma'am, it is anti-discrimination against students or staff.
Right.
Is there something about bathrooms in here?
There is nothing about bathrooms in the policies that are in front of you.
Yeah, and the Title IX process for investigating any claim from a student or staff member is very intensive, right? I mean,
Yes.
somebody feels like, I don't remember just what it is, but
Any
God
kind, well,
bless her.
I did that job for quite a while, and any kind of sexual harassment, there's prescriptive steps to go through to make sure that people are protected and that they're okay.
right.
And able to, okay, meaning able to go to work, able to go to school and, benefit from their education and from their employment.
And so I find myself in a place where we're educators. And so our responsibility as a board is to establish policies for the district to ensure that every student is safe when they are with us. And that safety leads to a proper education. And so I'm confused, I guess.
Well,
I would
and I-
entertain
I
some,
don't- I don't see anything that is saying that we're leading in one direction or another. It's just basically taking care of our kids and making sure they are safe and that we're not discriminating against anyone.
right, which.
So So
Anybody else have a comment or?
I just want to say, I think I understand what your concerns are, and I share a lot of the same concerns. And reading through this before we voted on it tonight, I don't see any of that in here. That's not what I feel like this is. So I hope that, you know, that we are all on the same page with that. It doesn't seem to me like it's what the people that are coming up and talking tonight. I don't see that in this literature that we're getting ready to vote on. And I could be wrong, but
This is where it's all headed.
No, I-
Okay, excuse me, no. So this is a consideration item,
yes.
so. And is there somebody wants to make a motion? Okay, thank you.
do we want to do it all at one time?
Mr. Strickland, do you want us to do A and B or just all of A and then we'll also review the,
I think A
And
would be
first,
appropriate.
all right.
And
thank
then B separate.
I'll make a motion to approve board policy A 250 AC, non-discrimination and equal opportunity.
Okay, and do you want to do 2 and 3 as well?
Okay. I move to approve board policy A 0300 ACA and board policy G 0200 GBA, non-discrimination on the basis of sex and equal employment opportunity.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The second item I have for you is B, which are two policies that are not needed because of the policies that were adopted. And so I'm asking you to consider removing board policy A 0350, non-discrimination related to reproductive or gender affirming healthcare. And also A 0400, Human Rights Act protection gender or gender identity.
So this,
These are the ones that are going
consideration
away.
item
Yes,
is
sir.
about taking away items, so. Do you have any discussion about that?
I do not.
Okay, no, we're good then. It's a consideration item.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to remove the regulation A 0350 ACB and A 0400 ACBB. All
Thank
in
you.
favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Employee services?
Sorry about my premature thank you.
No, that's okay.
We have a employee services report in front of you. Still a lot of activity. We do have a need for special ed teachers. Unfortunately, that number is still pretty high at 23 and a half, I think is what it is this week. We do have some job fairs scheduled. And we're looking at some other opportunities, even virtual teachers. I talked with a company that does virtual New Mexico certified teachers. And so we would have to have an EA in the classroom. But we're going to pursue that, as well as even looking at some international J1 visa teachers that could be available to help us with our SPED need. But overall, the rest of it is looking really good.
It does look really good. Thank you for your hard work. Anybody have any questions or comments about open?
Questions or comments?
No,
Thank
Madam
you.
President.
All right, thank you. Ms. Nieto's not here. I guess you're subbing in. Thank you for coming.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Russ. Tonight I'll be presenting for Ms. Nieto the update on the increment salary schedule for the National Board Professional Teaching Standards. We didn't have an amount of information I previously provided. as it was yet to be determined by PED, but we do have that amount now. The stipend amount is calculated based on the factor and the unit value. Clovis Municipal School's unit value is $6,553.75. And we multiply that by 1.5 factor, which totals $9,830.62. This year, we have 5 national board certified professionals who will receive this stipend on the October 30th payroll. And with that information, I stand for any questions.
Great.
I think that's a really nice
Yeah, it is.
stipend, so. And this is a consideration item.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second to approve the NBCT stipend on the revised 24-25 salary schedule. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we have a lovely discussion. Ms. Sharon Epps, who has been our board member for several years now, has resigned due to some personal issues. And so we have some obligation about how we fill that, and we have to fill it within a 45-day period. So I think I checked back the letter with date stamped October 10th.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have 45 days, which we can send out, as soon as possible. We need to post it up, a legal notice, probably in the paper.
Okay.
And then we'll also post it on the district webpage and Facebook page, as soon as possible after tonight. We will, in that notice to the public, we will talk about how we will collect letters of interest, and hopefully we can get them back by 4:00 p.m. Tuesday, November 12th. So we have a bit of time to review them prior to interviews and selecting somebody. But at the same time, Ms. Tommy, can you verify their address and voter registration? Do we have a process for accomplishing
I
that?
think they
The,
their address.
yes, but like, do we want them to bring in a utility bill?
Probably the same thing that we do for
that was-
student registration. and
Right.
We could confirm with Ms.
Yeah.
Holden.
Oh, maybe that was the process. I had.
Yeah.
I might
Mr.
have to-
Martin called to remind me
I
about
had-
the
I
process.
had to do that. I had to show a bill.
I think I had to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Come to
I know,
think of it,
yeah.
so.
Okay, so we would want potential candidates in District 1 to provide proof of address, and the policy states voter registration, but they have to verify their voter registration. Sure,
We can do that.
we'll have to investigate how we would confirm that. These sound reasonable steps to you guys?
Yes, ma'am. Sounds like what I-
And then we can have a special meeting, or we can just conduct the interviews and recommend a new board member at the regular meeting on the 19th. What's your pleasure?
It doesn't matter to me, whatever the rest of the board is.
We're kind of on a short timeline, and so to be sure that we give plenty of time for the community to respond,
Mhm.
it seems like it would be best if we could do it in November. I don't,
At the board meeting in November.
yeah.
Yeah.
the board
When
meeting.
Let's
as
do that.
long as it fits in that timeline.
That gives
It's
everybody plenty of time.
40
to
or
respond.
41 days. I figured it up. So if it's on the 10th, that's 21 days in October and 19 days in November, so 40 days.
Mhm.
So we'll meet the timeline, and as soon as we select someone, we have to notify NMP that we've replaced that position.
Okay.
So if we do it at the regular board meeting, we would immediately swear in the person that we select and probably reorganize officers, since Mrs. Epps was the vice president.
Sounds good to me.
Sound good?
Yes, ma'am. And what did you say how are we gonna advertise?
We will advertise in the paper,
Uh-huh.
and then also on the district Facebook page, and let me see what else.
Facebook.
Yeah, on the district webpage and on the district Facebook page.
Okay.
So, and in the local newspaper, so.
Right.
Any place else is you guys would like it to be?
I mean, I don't know where else we could.
Pretty limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that should get,
Anybody that knows a good board member, send them our way.
yeah, exactly.
Do they need to be in that district?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
that will be the criteria. That's why we have to verify the address thing. And be a registered voter, so. All right, that's a consideration item. So let me review the timeline one more time because let's see, that's our action item is to consider the process. So the process would be that immediately following this meeting, we will post legal notice in the newspaper. And we will also post the information on the district webpage and Facebook page by tomorrow or so. And then we will, in that notice that we post, we will ask that people send a letter of interest, describing why they're interested in their character, their qualifications for that, to Miss Tommy. She'll collect them for us, and then she'll make sure that we all get copies the next day if possible, so that we have time to review. And when she sends that out, she'll also send out, how that will go, the instructions for how we'll conduct those interviews and questions, because we want to make sure every candidate gets the same
ones, yes.
And then the final step in the process will be to interview and recommend new board members at our regular meeting on the 19th. With us swearing in, which you can do, right? Ms. Tommy, you can
Yeah.
swear in a new member and reorganize officers. Right? That is a consideration.
I move to approve the process to fill the vacancy of District 1 board position.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the process to fill the vacancy for District 1. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I don't think we have any open forum left, or did everyone speak? We have one.
We
left?
have 3 cards for open forum in person,
Okay,
but we did not receive any online.
okay, perfect.
I did keep these in order as well.
Thank you.
So Miss Candy Gomez, if you would like to go ahead and approach the podium.
Good evening. I appreciate your time. First, I would like to address the Title IX because I know this is going to be addressed at the schools. And the way that I found out is because a month ago, I got an email saying that they were doing the puberty videos within the school for 4th and 5th grade. And I have 4th grade twins, boy, girl. And in the email, it said girls only would be attending that video. So when I went to sign the form to opt my kids out, I asked and reassured that I was only girls. That day, my son came home and asked why I didn't sign him out of the video. And they were having a video in the classroom. And he said, oh no, my mom would not like this. So the teacher sent him to the office. And when I asked the principal about this, she had no idea what the video was showing. And also, upon asking her, she did the research and told me that on October 30th, they are going to address K through 5th on this Title IX and sexual harassment. Most kindergartners don't even know the word sexual. And she said, oh, well, you have the option to opt out, but we're not sending out a letter, only in Skyward. Most people don't even know letters are posted in Skyward. And whether I want my kids to opt in or opt out of this, I should be able to set them up for what they're walking into. And how am I going to opt out of something when I'm not notified? And also, I do want to say that I have sat with many of you, had conversations about the HB 7 and why are we prematurely implementing things? Because with the bathroom law, I sat with y'all and y'all were passing it, implementing it in April. It wasn't even passed till June 16th of 2023, but we were implementing it, quotations, because I was told this by many leaders, that it's case law. And I know by many people, many different small districts around our area aren't implementing this until they absolutely have to. But it seems like we're always, oh, because we need funding, but God will fund it. And if we stand up for our kids is what matter. I want to say, everyone's like, oh, our hands are tied. With the mask, I was told our hands are tied. With the bathrooms, I was told our hands are tied. But yet, God forbid we add days your hands weren't tied then. You took off, to be exact, Monday, the 18th, 2023, two of your superintendents took off, went down to Santa Fe to oppose adding days. But yet, we can't fight for the kids, for their safety, but God forbid, and not that I want y'all to have my kids anymore, because I do not, but God forbid that's what we fight for. Are we gonna morally fight for stuff, or are we gonna federally fight for stuff? Because if we morally stand for these kids, and biblically stand for them, God will provide for our kids. Thank you.
Next, Miss Haley Drake, if you will approach the podium.
So I had something prepared to say, but I'm not gonna bother because obviously I signed up for the wrong section and you guys already voted. But my main question was, what can we as parents and community leaders do to sit down and have a conversation with the board, a dialogue back and forth, because this feels very confrontational. It is very awkward to stand up here and speak at you guys when you don't speak back and forth with us. It's awkward, it's not productive, and it never gets us anywhere. I would also just like to say, you guys said this is inclusive, this is protecting all our kids. I have 4 kids. It's not inclusive. I was told if my daughter doesn't want to go to the bathroom with transgenders, then she can go to a single stall bathroom in the nurse's station or somewhere else. That would be excluding her and the majority of kids so that we can accommodate a few kids who personally I feel are in the middle of a mental health crisis. And we are putting all of these sexual topics and identities and ideas in their minds at the kindergarten age now. They're not ready for that. We're confusing them and then we're bombarding them in the school district and we wonder why we're failing at all of our grades. Like our state is last. We're not focused on education. We're focused on inclusion. And there are states who stood against the Biden-Harris HB7, Title IX, whatever you want to call it. It's Kansas first, the state of, or the United States. Let's see, Kansas first, the United States Department of Education. Other schools have joined the lawsuit and they have successfully kept it out of their schools. All we want to do is sit down and talk with you guys, not at you guys, not with you one-on-one. We know that these decisions are made as a board together. I have spoken with a few of you individually. I do think that a lot of us may have similar values. I think there's strength in numbers. I think you have a community and churches who want to back you guys and work with you guys, not against you guys. But let's not sit up here and make little jokes and like snide comments like, well, we're not really talking about what these people are talking about. Like, this is extreme, because it's not. We do have kids in our elementary schools here wearing tails and ears and identifying as animals. That is absolutely ridiculous. You have students going by pronouns that do not match their gender. I'm pretty sure I didn't ever get an A in biology. I would like that switched, because now everything we can just identify as what we want. Like, this is ridiculous. School is a place of education. It is not a place for these liberal ideas to be forced upon. We have had a transgender teacher. We have teachers who do dress so overtly gay that it is bringing up those conversations to students in the elementary levels. That is already happening. We already have students who do want to use bathrooms that they are not assigned that gender. That is happening, and this is happening here in Clovis. We do have teachers who are still working for the district who are scared to come to these meetings or to speak out because they are employed by the district. We have lost many educated, experienced teachers to the small schools because the small schools are willing to stand for their values. Have a conversation with you guys.
Thank you. One more. Alrighty, and then lastly, Juan Aramia. Amaria?
Hey, can I give her my 3 minutes?
No,
Because,
sorry.
God honestly,
Come on up.
and I said it hasn't already been said. I always got something. No, I pray for you all. As a leader myself, I can't imagine that it's easy to sit in your spots, and so I pray for you. I pray that you make a choice that would honor the Almighty God. Because regardless of our perspectives and regardless of our opinions, if we make choices that He would love us to make, then money would never be an issue to an Almighty God. And I don't want to encourage you necessarily in tonight. I want to encourage you moving forward in that you have not only the support of a community, if you choose for what the Lord would choose, but also God will support you in everything if you choose to honor him. And so I just want to let you know, I believe in you. I believe in you, not just to do the right thing in light of a God who we will stand before, but also a community who I think stands united, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious here tonight. I appreciate you all and everything you do. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Announcements and stuff.
Thank you. November 5th, our schools will be closed. It's a mandatory holiday adopted by the legislature this spring. So our students will be out on both November 5th and 11th, but our central offices will be open on those dates. Our next board meeting will be held on November 19th at 5:30 p.m. Schools will be closed for Thanksgiving break, November 25th through 29th. And then our district offices will be closed that week for 27th to 29th for Thanksgiving.
Very much. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.